This is everything I wish I knew before going to Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity 101. And in this video, I'm going to tell you absolutely everything I wish I knew, from practical to mindset, and all of this is going to be helpful for you if this is your first time attending as a creator. My next video, I'm going to show you exactly what to bring, how to prepare, from accommodation and so much more. Make sure that you watch to the end of this video. Before we get into this really clear guide on how to prepare you for Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, I feel like it's really important for us to talk about what Cannes is actually about and who is actually for. So just a quick history lesson in my own way. Cannes has been here for years. I remember wanting to go to Cannes for a while. Now, people might know Cannes for the film festival, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the Cannes Festival. We're talking about the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, which was predominantly initially for large agencies, advertising organizations who wanted to showcase their work and celebrate their work. But now Cannes is open to creators. Yes, I'm talking about content creators. I'm talking about small business owners. Cannes is the place for you. And for me, it was my first time experiencing Cannes as a creator. Honestly, how I got to Cannes is a story for another video. But today I want to help you. I want to focus on you. And so it's all about celebrating creativity. There's lots of talks, lots of brands to connect with, and lots of activations to see, experience, and engage with. See it as this really grand networking opportunity for the creative world. That is the best way I can personally describe it. At Cannes Lions, you can expect award ceremonies, beach activations, private dinner talks, villa parties, the whole shebang. And what's beautiful about Cannes Lions is all of these experiences will add value in some kind of way. Whether it's the people that you're connecting with, the environments that you're going to be in, it's all adding value. But the value part is only valuable if you attend with intention. We will get to that. Who actually goes to Cannes Lions Festival? The people who actually attend now are very large agencies, and big brands. So if you think about advertising agencies, so the Ogilvy's, Adweek, like all of those huge brands. And then you have brands like media brands like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. You have all of these big companies have activations for you to engage with their brand. You should also know that the creator economy is booming and new. They are valuing the attendance of creators more now than ever before. So it is really fundamental for you to be in this space if you feel like it's relevant for your career growth and experience. What are the benefits that you can gain as a creator? Benefits are partnerships and collaboration, learning from other creators or industry partners, visibility and credibility, and 100% inspiration. I left the Cannes Lions Festival more inspired than ever before because I was now in rooms with decision makers. I'm talking about like the CEO of YouTube. I think he was there. But I was in the room with like partnership managers, the people who call the shots. They are in that space. And that's why you need to get your ass to Cannes Lions Festival. So let's talk about delegate passes. And I want to answer the question, do you need a pass to attend Cannes Lions Festival? And the short answer is no. But let me explain. So the delegate passes are, from what I remember, from about £1,000. Would I pay for Cannes? I personally would definitely invest in a creator ticket. So they have different tickets. So they have different delegate passes. They have the creator pass, they have the young lions pass, they have the class. The classic pass gives you access to a creator pass, gives you access to everything or some things, but specifically targeted for creators, which I absolutely love. I definitely personally wouldn't have bought a classic ticket because the classic is more targeted at, I guess, like big organizations, bigger agencies that have like large staffs and that can afford to fund, and probably wealthy people who, for them, this is the backyard experience. So that's where I would say for the classic tickets, you could purchase. For the creator tickets, I would absolutely, if I was ready to make that investment, I would make the investment in a creator ticket because it honestly is worth it. Now, last year, again, this is for another video, but last year I attended Cannes Lions. I basically booked a flight and accommodation without having a ticket. I made the decision that I was going to go to Cannes Lions regardless of what happened. So whether, I didn't know, because I've been wanting to go to Cannes Lions for the longest time, for 5 years. And I'll tell you more about the programs that are available to you shortly, but that helps you to attend. But I was never accepted onto those programs. And I knew that Cannes Lions was somewhere that I wanted to be. So it was super important for me to find a way to get there. And so I set the intention to go to Cannes even without a ticket. I thought to myself, I'm just going to go and be in proximity, because proximity is power. If you can get close to the thing, then the possibility of you being in the thing or being surrounded or being connected to the thing, whether it's the people you're trying to meet or all of that kind of stuff, is really important. So for me, I went without a ticket, but I eventually got one, and I want to share that difference. So my point is, can you go to Cannes without a ticket? The answer is yes, you can. There are restrictions though, right? And those restrictions might be minor or major depending on what your intention is. Now, if you want to go to parties, if you want to go to dinners, if you want to have some fun, you may not need a ticket. You sign up to these things before you go to Cannes, so you can register and attend. But there were some occasions where I knew I couldn't get into some places because I didn't have a pass. So my advice would be, if you want to go for proximity, if you want to take that chance like I did, then book a ticket, book a flight, book an accommodation, go to Cannes and just be there and figure it out when you get there. But if you want guaranteed access to absolutely everything, you want to make sure you're at the award night, you want to make sure you're at the opening night, you want to make sure that you are where the people are at, find a way to get a ticket. I know it sounds contradictory, but I promise you, I'm saying this because I experienced it last year. I went without a ticket at first, but I could see the benefit of definitely having a ticket, also the possibility of still being able to experience Cannes without a ticket as well. So with your discretion, respectfully. How do you get to Cannes with a ticket? There are several programs that are available. So they call them ERA programs. And these are programs that give organizations, people who potentially cannot afford to attend Cannes, by the way, to attend Cannes, to attend basically. So some small businesses or small organizations will partner up with Cannes to give people who typically may not be able to afford Cannes to attend, and you sign up through those. And that's majorly how people internationally, smaller creators, people come from different backgrounds have been able to attack. And transparently, and to be honest, I think that's how Cannes has really diversified over the years, is because of these ERA programs. And shout out to some of the pioneers that have really push that. So you might have heard of some platforms that have said, hey, you can come to Cannes with us. And so you can try those platforms out. But like I said before, I have applied for several one of those and I never got accepted. But I want to tell you that you should go. It is still possible to go without breaking the bank and still have a good time at Cannes and still find it valuable without being accepted on a program. So it's very possible. You could fork out 4K if you want to. You might not want to do that, but it is an option. The thing that I wish I knew before going was RSVP before arriving. Now, the way that CAN works is through guest list. It's through through registration. So it's really important that you do your research beforehand. Now, because I've been to CAN last year and because I'm interested in being at CAN this year, I'm now seeing all the things that I just never saw before or was never aware of, because now I'm in the proximity and on LinkedIn and in person. Well, on LinkedIn now, I'm now in the proximity of people who are regulars who go to CAN. And so now I'm seeing all the events that are happening before it happens. I'm seeing all the backlinks and the registrations and all of that kind of stuff. And honestly, that's where the vibes are at. That's where you really want to register. So what happens is they will prioritize people who have RSVP'd already. Some activations are more stricter than others. So when you get to the Lacos, where is it the Pala? I don't know. But basically, when you get to CAN and when you arrive at where all the activations are at, each brand will have a space on the beach. So it will have an experience, right? So you might do, Pinterest had this amazing experience, and Netflix have this amazing experience, in Snapchat, and some of those activations are open to everybody, and some of those activations are open to just people who have specifically RSVP'd prior to arriving. So some of the things that you want to be aware of is getting access to those beforehand, like asking people, joining WhatsApp groups, doing your research, watching videos like this to help you. And one of the platforms that I used was something called, not platforms, but it was a website called The Propeller. And I believe there may be an agency, don't quote me, and they basically have a list of all the activations and events that are happening at CAN. And what you need to do is go through that as early as you possibly can and register to all of them, because when you get to CAN, there's a likelihood that you may not be able to enter those events. Some people do let you in, especially if you maybe know someone who's inside, but it can be a bit like, if you ain't down, you ain't going in. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something that you want to be aware of. So RSVP for the events beforehand. Some are so much easier than others. So like getting into someone like Pinterest, Canva, Sportspeech is quite competitive to in. Spotify is quite competitive to get in if you want to get into those ones. I think they were quite challenging to get into, because the reason why they are competitive is because those brands really have, I guess, more of the celebrity speakers that attend them, and they have like biggest, like, most exclusive parties. So I think last year, I think Cardi B performed, and then you might have, who was the rapper? There was a rapper that came, I can't remember who it is. Was it Usher there? I don't know, maybe I'm making that up, but you know where I'm going with this. It's like high A-listers, celebrities attend those. Serena Williams, I believe she was speaking at Sportspeech and stuff like that. So just to give you an idea of how some of these activations are quite exclusive, but it is possible if you are able to register well in advance, is what I'm trying to say to you. So that's something that you want to do. So I'll include the website of The Propeller here so that you can go and register, so you get access to it. One other thing I wish I knew before coming, or let me rephrase this, I wish other people knew before coming, because I did this the first time round, is arriving to the Cannes Lions Festival a day before it starts. Do not come on the day it starts. Now, unless you absolutely cannot make Cannes because you have work or you have other commitments, but I would always recommend that you attend the Cannes Lions Festival beforehand. Now, for myself, I arrived in Nice 2 days before the festival, so I stayed in Nice for a couple of days. It was also my birthday period as well, so I really wanted to just enjoy the experience. But I will say that really helped me prepare emotionally and mentally to transition into this really huge festival that had, again, it's just so many options, and I'll tell you more about that shortly. But I do want to say that I met with so many creators who are like big creators who were absolutely overwhelmed and confused and frustrated because they arrived on the day or 2 days in and just didn't know where to start. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know how to navigate things. They didn't know what was going on, which was left from right. Some people came with tickets, but they just felt flustered and just felt overwhelmed. And for that reason, they didn't necessarily enjoy the experience. And so for me, what I would say to you is to make sure that you arrive a day before. Now, in 2026, so this is this year, but this will be relevant at any time you go to Cannes, is usually around that time frame. So this year it's from the 21st to I think the 25th or 6th. I don't know, I can't remember. One of those days. I'll check on the website. So if it starts on the 21st, arrive on the 20th at the very latest, if that makes sense. If you can arrive earlier, I would absolutely recommend, but I would say arrive a day before. The reason why I tell you this and why this really changed the game for me and why I had the most amazing experience at Cannes was because I was able to give myself a head start in understanding the logistics, the layout, the geography of Cannes. I literally went the day before and walked on the La Croisette, I think that's what it's called, or I basically walked along where the festival was and recorded where everything was, so that the next day when the festival started, I knew exactly where I was going. So, and I did this with all the hotspots as well. So Hotel Martinez, which you will hear about, which is I think one of the most expensive hotel at Cannes, which is where a lot of activations happen. You see a lot of celebrities coming in and out of there. Their TikTok was hosting something there, and then there's a few private events and experiences that happen there as well. So I knew where Hotel Martinez was. I knew where all the major brands that I wanted to experience and I wanted to activate, I knew where they were. So I would absolutely make sure that where everything is beforehand. It just makes it so much easier, because when people are flustered and everything, I was just like, I can't relate because I've been up in here. You know? So that's something that I would say, come a day earlier. You get lots of free stuff in Cannes. That's another thing. I didn't know how many free things you would leave with at Cannes. So when you're packing your bags, which I'll talk about in another video, when you're packing and all of that kind of stuff, you want to make sure that you make room for the free stuff that you're gonna go home with. Because so the ticket is worth it in that you have access to high value decision makers, you have access to food. So in the mornings before you come to the events, I would say that you can have little breakfast at home if you want to, depending on how far or close you stay. But I will say that I didn't have to spend much money on food because they gave us food. We ate, we got fed. A lot of the activations will feed you. I don't know what the budgets are saying this year though. I don't know, but last year we had pizza at nighttime. We ate pizza every night because Uber was doing this really lit activation where they were just literally giving away free pizzas every single night. A big box of pizza, and me and my friends were just backing it every night. So we didn't really have to do dinner. We didn't really have to eat out. We didn't really have to book a restaurant, which kept my cost really low. How much should you budget for the Cannes Lions Festival if this is your first time arriving or attending? If you've made a decision going, then I personally would think about the ticket last. Choose to invest in a ticket, you choose to go by chance through these ERA programs, or you choose to just be in proximity. So those are the three choices that you have to make: proximity, by chance, or investment. Your accommodation really is the first thing I would consider, and your flights, those two things. I spent less than £1,500 on my entire experience. That is flights, accommodation, and food, right? I spent less than probably even 1,000, if I'm being honest with you. And my story is quite different, and I'll share that in another video, but it just meant that my flights were really cheap, super cheap. I shared accommodation with 3 other women, and because of all the free stuff I was getting, I didn't actually eat much. But for those who want to have not really a budget restricted experience, it really depends. So accommodation, I would say, so for accommodation, if you're staying by yourself closer, and if you're leaving it closer to the time, you are definitely probably going to spend more than £2,000 on accommodation, or €2,000 on accommodation alone. So if you're staying by yourself, it's definitely going to be really more expensive for you. And so my recommendation is to find women to share with, or men to share with, whatever your preference. So shared accommodation will help you keep to a nice sizable budget. And so accommodation, one thing. So let's say, for example, for me, I spent on my accommodation, I think I spent £230 for the entire stay. You are taken aback. Well, that's because I stayed with other people. We stayed in a really nice Airbnb, and it really helped. And I will talk about logistics of accommodation in another video. Also, you don't need to stay really close. Like, people think, oh, I need to stay on the strip, stay so close to the Pala de Festival where it actually is for me to experience it. And no, you don't. You can literally take a bus down. It literally is so easy to get around. Our accommodation was like maybe 20 minutes away, or was it like 20 minutes? Well, on bus it was about like 25 minutes away, 25-minute bus journey, and that was perfectly fine for us. We didn't have any qualms. So again, I'll share that more of the logistics around that in another video. And then the other thing is obviously flight. So the earlier you book your flights, the better. Another tip for accommodation, I know that this is not quite budgeting, but another tip for accommodation is where you don't have to pay for it up front. Basically, it's just like they reserve it and then you book on the day. But the risk with that, especially with Cannes, is that a lot of accommodation providers just cancel on you last minute. So I personally, bookings.com, I don't know, I ain't really had a great experience with them. So Airbnb I found more reliable. So that's another thing I will say. For food, like I said before, there's a lot of free stuff. For food, I would say, again, if you're trying to have bougie dinners and you want to eat at the restaurants and stuff like that, and you're there for all the days, then I would say probably put in your back pocket, if you want to do that really comfortably, maybe 1,000, maybe £600. Again, I think there's levels to this. You're talking to someone who is like affordable traveler. I like nice things, but on this occasion, to really save my coins, and I just leaned into what was possible and available. So I think overall, if you leave it all last minute, you definitely could be spending well up to, excluding the ticket, you could be spending well up to £4,000. You could. But like I said, I went and I spent less than £1,000 to go. The thing that I wish I knew before going, and I want to share, is to make sure that you download the Cannes Lion Festival app before you arrive and utilize it. Yes. So when you get a delegate pass, you will automatically have access to the Cannes Lions Festival app. Shows you the speakers that are speaking. You can schedule your talks, you can schedule your dinners and all the activations you're going to, because the reality is there are so many different events happening at the same time. You will not be able to attend everything. I promise you that. Don't try and do it. And I had this really interesting moment for me where it was between listening to, Nella Rose, or attending a high-level YouTube partnership experience that could help me with my career. But I also really wanted to see Nella Rose because that's my girl. And I had those two things clashing in my schedule, and I decided that I was going to go with something that was going to bring me long-term value. And so within that, I ended up not going to the Nella Rose thing. But on my way there, guess who I see coming out from Hotel Martinez? Nella Rose. And we ended up just having a conversation. I was like, oh my gosh, I was literally just coming to go to your talk, but I wasn't going to be able to attend it because I was going to this. And it was just amazing how much we were able to I still had the opportunity to meet her, but I still had the opportunity to experience this, do what I committed to, basically. So my point is, the app is really there for you to understand scheduling, for you to plan ahead as much as possible. I can't remember if in the app you have features where you can network with different people as well. So if you meet someone that you really wanted to connect with, I can't remember if you can talk through the app, but you can definitely exchange details and stay connected, and you can have access to their LinkedIn and stuff like that. So 100% utilize the app, understand how it works before day one of it, so that you're not flustered and confused about where to go, what times things are happening, where locations are. You're welcome to change your mind about the activations that you do, but it's just something that you should be aware of. So utilize the app. One of the other things that I will say is that networking at Cannes is a skill. It's a skill that needs to be mastered. You either go feeling like you just met a whole bunch of celebrities and you feel like you were on a high, then you missed out on leveraging relationships or real revenue opportunities. So I would absolutely say that master the skill of networking before you arrive. Now, you don't have to be perfect, but I do think that it is important to show up with a really clear intention. So why do you want to attend Cannes? What would it do for you? What does success look like? If success is meeting the celebrities and the A-listers and getting a nice photo with them, then that's perfectly fine. Just know that that's what you want to do, just so that it keeps you on course. But if you are there for contacts, if you are there for a specific brand or meeting or whatever, then just be really clear on that, because those things will help you to stay committed to the cause and not allow FOMO to override your experience, where someone's like, oh my God, I'm going to see this celebrity, and then you leave everything that you intended to do just to go and see a celebrity. Again, I'm not against that, but that wasn't necessarily my objective for when I went. Okay, and then I will do another video on networking specifically and what to do around that. Wrap up is that a lot of the mistakes that big first timers make is definitely arriving on the first day. Do not do that. They believe that Cannes is really expensive and is going to break a bank. It doesn't have to, because I had a very budget friendly experience last year and I made a decision to go and I got in for free. The other thing is go with intention, so be really clear on your why. Download the app so you know what's happening. RSVP for events, so there's the propeller that I told you about and other things. Another thing I will add here is WhatsApp groups. That was life-saving for me. So make sure that there's Cannes for women, there's the industry club, there's Black Space, there's so many different spaces for every different communities, but also these are the places where people really connect. And it was the WhatsApp group where I found people to live with, people to stay with, exchanging details and stuff like that. So that's what I want to share, and hopefully this has given you some insights on what Cannes is really like to attend. And in the next video I'm going to talk you through some really practical things to prepare you for the festival. So you might hear some things from this video, but I want to deep dive into what do I wear, what do I bring, where do I stay, and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, make sure you comment, unsubscribe, and circulate this with your friends. If you know anyone who's interested in going to Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, to tell a friend. And because I remember when I was going last year and I did not see a video that could help me, not one single video was like, this is what to expect, this is how to prepare. I don't understand. So here you have it. Speak to you guys soon. Bye.